Mr. Cabot with another fantastic screencast from digital film and animation. And for this week's assignment, you're going to be doing a 2-day assignment. You get 2 days to do this. It's going to be a very simple animation that I hope you will make it easy on yourself. Don't try something too complicated. The idea is that we're going to go back to the 12 principles of animation that we worked on last time. There's that Alan Becker video in last week's assignment. I moved it into this week's assignment, into this week's folder. So we're looking at this week's folder now, and this is the Alan Becker video. 3 of the principles of animation that you're going to use are going to be from this video. So the other document here is called two-legged motion. If you decide to do a kind of human figure, this will help you a lot. These are kind of the different steps in the cycle that makes up a walk, and then different kinds of walks and runs and jumps and things. When you go to pixel art and make your project, it's going to be 700 by 700, which is what I did here. And I already created a gradient, right? I used a light green and a dark green, and I used the gradient tool, which is right here. I had different colors here when I made it. And that's why I have this as a background. Okay, I also named a layer the worm, which I am going to get rid of and make a new layer that is called blob, because that's what I'm going to use for my character. I'm not going to try to make it too lifelike or humanoid. I'm going to make this a little more simple. I'm just going for the principles of animation and not something that's really super realistic. So, move my screen here a little bit. Notice that when you go into GIF frames, you can lock the animation or lock frames, which means that the animation as a whole will fit inside the screen and it won't be blocked by this timeline. Okay, and you can always see the timeline. It'll always be there. It's a really nice feature, actually. So I recommend that you use that. Assignment, and we have anticipation, we have follow through, and we have exaggeration. I'm going to try using all 3 of those, and we'll talk about them as we go. So back to pixel art. Don't forget you made a 700 by 700 document. You made 2 layers. I just renamed my background layer. Maybe some of you caught that. I shouldn't have done it quite that way. So I'm going to rename my background layer back to background layer, background. Say OK, and then before I rename the layer, I need to add a layer. Okay, so this is the one that I'm going to rename, and this one's going to be called the blob, or just blob. Blob is a very funny movie from the 50s, by the way, if you haven't seen it. Young Steve McQueen, and it's really bad, but it's really good. Okay, so speaking of blobs, I am going to get my pencil. I'm going to use this dark blue color, and or maybe I'll just choose a different color. I like dark blue, but I want it to be a little bit darker and a little bit less blue. So kind of like blue-gray. Say select color. I'm going to make sure my pencil's a decent size, 6, because I got 700 pixels across, so it's not going to be a very thick line, right? And here we are in frame 1. So I've got a blob, and the blob is going to be just sitting here, right? Maybe he'll have a head, and he'll have no legs. So then I'm going to say copy frame, because I need the background to paste into the next frame. So I'll copy the frame, and then I have to delete this. Now I can't see my object because I have this object in the background. How did I fix that last time? Oh, I'll just turn the background off. And then when I come back, the background's there, but I made it invisible. So now that I can see my object, right, from where it was before. So that's the key. If you want to be able to see your object against the background, you hide the background, and then later you're going to have to go through frame by frame and just make it visible again. So I'm going to take a few frames here and just sort of establish the character, right? It's going to be kind of the same, but it's going to be kind of moving around a little bit. Copy frame. And select. And get rid of that. And go to pencil. Okay, so 3 frames just to kind of, before anything happens, it's just, you know, the blob needs to undulate a little bit. And then, let's see, copy frame. Select is S. Select everything, cut it, and go to the pencil. Around this time, I'm probably going to just speed up the process so you can watch it in fast motion and not have to watch me do every single drawing. But first, I am going to have this guy stand up, this blob that is. So it's going to kind of move around a little bit. Maybe he'll kind of stand up like this, and then these little feet will come out right where he was, where the bottom was. Copy frame, select, cut, pencil, stand him up a little further, or her. I don't really want to be, you know, assuming anything about the gender here. And okay, so I'm here at the end of my little run. I haven't watched it for a while, so let's take a quick look. And so what we see is the character starts a little higher than they end up. But the idea is that there's a anticipation. Character stands up, leans back, runs. There's some stuff trailing, catches up with the character. The head kind of snaps forward and then back, and then the character sits down again. So that's, you know, if I could make a little screech noise right here, that's what I would do. And that's basically the whole thing. It took me about 45 minutes, and you guys have a couple days to do this. You can take a little bit longer, maybe 45 minutes each day. You ought to come up with something good. Okay, I'm gonna speed this up while I just finish up doing some colors and adding the background back in again, and then we'll watch one last time and we'll be done. Okay, and with that, again, wishing I could add some sound. Here is my little blob animation. If I could do it again, maybe I would have it stand there for a little bit longer before it sat down at the end, and I would be careful to not start at a lower place than I finished. So it starts right about there, finishes a little bit lower than that on the screen, but overall not too bad. Okay, have fun with this, guys.